This week's episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is brought to you by Pendleton Ammunition, loading ammo, one round at a time.
Utah is a state that is well known for monster bulls and mule deer bucks. And for the last 15 years, we've been traveling to Utah to film these hunts for our television series. I feature these hunts with our outfitters because they're high quality hunts that our clients don't have to draw a tag to enjoy. The state CWMU program is very unique in that it allows landowners or groups of contiguous landowners to form their own hunting unit, a cooperative wildlife management unit, or CWMU. This allows them to create their own 60-day hunting season for the property with guaranteed landowner vouchers, and these benefits include being able to rifle hunt for elk during the middle of September to the middle of October during the peak of the rut with the rifle, and late October and into early November as the mule deer also start to rut. An additional benefit is that while this private land would otherwise be closed to all public access, one of the conditions of the CWMU program is that a certain number of tags will be issued through the draw to the general public. This way, everyone benefits from the program. This week, we're focused on hunting trophy mule deer bucks. It's early November, and while it hasn't snowed yet, it's starting to get colder, and the guides are seeing signs of the rut getting underway. So in the cold, early pre-dawn light, we offload the UTV and head up the mountain.
We're offloading the Ranger first morning, got a lot of anticipation. It's cold, just a little bit below 30 degrees from what I can tell, and the deer will be up moving first light. It's a little bit overcast, but off that direction, fairly clear over here. So hopefully we'll be spotting deer right off the bat.
Joining me this week is my longtime client and good friend, Cesar Fonte. Now, Cesar's killed a lot of trophy mule deer bucks, more than anyone else I've ever hunted with. And I knew that we'd have to find something special for him to want to pull the trigger. And to start the hunt, we are in the field with Dobie Bat, a longtime Utah guide with a reputation for finding those big, old bucks. In fact, to start this hunt, we're going out to look for a buck that Dobie had spotted the day before while he was out scouting. This deer was down in some steep, rocky breaks. We realized that it was going to take a bit of work to dig this buck up. It was decided that we would split up, that Cesar and I would go on one side of the ridge and glass, and Dobie would go over on the other, and we would pick all the pockets apart.
We're in a semi-ambush position right now where we're waiting for deer to come out and feed their way up.
I have a plan though. If it's a really big one, he's down there, lay prone and hand me the rifle.
Not the first time I've had to shoot off of his shoulder.
That's why we went to suppressors, because I can't hear anything.
You'd send enough a large caliber bullet next to somebody's ear and they complain incessantly.
I've got a suppressor manufacturer that wants to do a signature line. I was like, I want you to call it the Fonte.
Good times.
I had a day here 2 years ago, Cesar, where we cruised and looked at deer and just looked at deer and looked at deer. I looked at over 100 bucks in one day.
Yeah?
Yeah, right, like the first week of November. I mean, it was incredibly impressive as to how many deer that, I was just like, hey, let's go look here, they're deer. Drive around the corner, deer there. I mean, that's 100 bucks, not counting the 500 does we've seen that. It was just, there's just a lot of deer here, and you get to look at a lot of animals.
The wind was really blowing up there on that ridgetop. If there's one thing that's kind of the kiss of death for trophy mule deer hunting, it's heavy winds. Those deer don't like to be out in it, and this canyon was catching the wind badly. So these deer were brushed up, and while we spent all morning glassing that canyon, we just never did find him again.
That was a good morning, Got to get the hunt started somehow. Saw a few deer. It's real windy up on top. Mule deer buried out. They're down in the oak brush, not moving. Just slow start, but but a good start. Weather's just a little too nice in terms of sunshine, but there's a storm coming. I've thought all along that tomorrow would really be our optimal day for hunting. With the snowstorm coming over the weekend, yeah, it's gonna happen. Those deer are gonna be out on the move. We're already seeing some rut behavior. Very confident. Confident, right? Confident.
Confidence.
Confidence is key.
Always confident.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Bergara Rifles, a passion. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Burris Optics. Find what matters. Cesar's not just a good friend and client. You've probably actually seen him on this television series a few years ago when we went to Alaska together and hunted for brown bears. That was a memorable trip that I'll never forget. And Cesar's one of our clients that books all of his hunts with our office. He booked a complete Grand Slam of sheep. In fact, he took 6 sheep. He's booked a number of great trips all around the world with us. And over the last 2 decades, we've become really good friends. And well, it had just been too long since we'd gone afield together. So we decided it was time to head out to Utah, go to the honey hole, and hunt some trophy mule deer bucks together.
He's gonna be a really good deer in 2 years. Great genetics, good eye guards, good main beams. Can't talk Steve into shooting him, so we'll let him go.
Yeah, we'll let them go so they can grow.
By the afternoon, I'd split off with my guide Daniel, and Cesar was still with Dobie. By splitting up, we could look at twice as many deer, cover twice as much country, and double our odds of finding a shooter. Daniel had been busy that morning guiding Camo Dreams hunter Savannah Whitney for a mule deer buck. Savannah has cerebral palsy, and Daniel made sure that she had a world-class experience. This particular CWMU encompasses approximately 75,000 acres of private lands made up of multiple landowners. The terrain varies from high timbered mountains down to the sagebrush valleys. And this time of year, the deer are congregating in the sagebrush and moving below tree lines. This is when you get to see a lot of deer, does, fawns, bucks of all sizes. Between late October and early November, there is lots of deer action.
We've probably seen, I don't know, 150 deer. Of those, probably 15, 20 bucks, and just saw a nice little buck fight. We keep fighting after it, and we are going to get something. So we're staying positive, lots of animals, we'll keep going.
Once it started to snow, we knew the deer would be out and feeding heavily. And with the rut just getting started, the bucks were popping up everywhere. Cesar only had a few days to hunt before he had to head out, so I was hoping he'd be able to find a buck that was big enough for him to pull the trigger. Cesar is hunting with the Bergara Premier Series Stalker, chambered in 300 Winchester Magnum and topped with the Burris Eliminator 3 laser scope. The gun is also fitted with the Dead Air Sandman suppressor and loaded with custom hand loads from Pendleton Ammunition. This rifle is extremely accurate and dialed into distances beyond 1,000 yards. Cesar and Dobie were up high glassing on these ridge tops, and they were in the snow. It was decided that the deer were probably just a little bit below that snow line. So they hiked down the road and were just almost back to the truck when they came across this big buck on the hillside. And with mule deer hunting, sometimes things happen quickly and you have to take advantage of the opportunity when it's in front of you. And sometimes those opportunities only last for a few seconds.
Okay.
Got him?
Yep.
Hit hard.
Rolling down, he's dead.
Yeah, he's front shoulder.
Nice shot, Cesar.
Thank you, thank you.
Really nice shot.
We came up this road and saw a pretty nice buck tending some does up here, and decided to get out and try to make something happen this morning. Well, we had a chance. Popped out. He's got probably 6 does with him. Finally came to a stop. Was able to put a crosshairs on him. You know, they work with between the Bergara rifle and the eliminator scope, it's really a chip shot. He was about 150 yards. I don't know if you'll notice on camera how quiet that was. Did you see with the suppressor? I mean, is that not the way to hunt from now on?
It's by far
It's
the
the
best
only way to hunt. I can't tell you enough how important it is to try to protect your hearing. But you know, when you have a setup like this, again, the Bergara rifle, the Eliminator 3 burriscope, and a suppressor on the end, it makes hunting so much more enjoyable. And it's dead nuts. This thing is a tack driver. How do you say we go get him?
Let's go get him.
Okay. You're looking for a fun, exciting trip that has great guides and great outfitter, I recommend you give Steve a call. They are all together a phenomenal team and they do a great job for you. I've had nothing but fun on this hunt. The lodging was incredible, the food was incredible, and obviously the hunting's incredible. So if you want to have some fun out west, give these guys a call. Oh, look at that, isn't it? Look how thick this thicker than I thought.
With Cesar tagged out and on his way home, I was the last one with a deer tag in my pocket. But on this property, with snow starting to fall and the early November rut beginning, I was looking at a lot of deer and I knew that it was just a matter of time. By the way, did I happen to mention that I had an elk tag in my pocket too? This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Marathon Seat Covers. We've got you covered. This segment is sponsored by Adventure Armory. Rifle, scope, and ammunition packages shipped, ready to shoot. So here we are. It's early November. I'm hunting the eastern slope of the Wasatch Mountains. The mule deer bucks are starting to rut. The snow is starting to fall. The elk are getting into great big winter range herds and moving to lower elevations. My good friend Cesar Fonte tagged a great big buck. And now I have a couple of days left in my hunt to fill both my buck and bull tags. On this ranch, no problem. So on the evening of the turning point in my hunt, we retreated to the warm comfort of the lodge where I sat down on the couch with our special guest, Savannah Whitney, and enjoyed the music performed by country music artist Bren Hill. He was there to sing for Savannah and Camo Dreams founder Derek Fusel, to celebrate her hunt and enjoy a night with friends.
Where the high meets the lonesome, with my face into the wind, looking out across the canyon, I remember what has been. In the sky like an eagle, on the mountain like a deer. When I'm longing for my freedom, I can always find it here. The distant thunder echoes like the troubles in my soul. Turn tail to the wind, listen to it roll. Where the heart meets the lonesome, I am looking in the mirror. In my sins, in my burdens, wash away when I am here. In the sky, God is watching o'er the mountain where I stand, and it is here that we can hear, and I know He understands. And the distant thunder echoes through the canyons of my soul. I feel God's sweet embrace, and we listen to it roll. But I fly
As the music faded and the evening ended, my thoughts changed to the hunt that would resume the next morning. On this hunt, I decided to use the Bergara B14 HMR rifle chambered in .308 Winchester, topped with the Burris Eliminator 3 laser scope and fitted with the Griffin Armament Ultralight Sportsman suppressor. The rifle went through load development at Pendleton Ammunition and is shooting 180 grain custom hand loads. This combination of rifle, scope, suppressor, and ammunition is deadly accurate to extreme distances and perfect for this mule deer hunt. When the sun rose, the fresh snow had blanketed the ground and the deer were on the move. So we moved back down below snowline and started glassing some brushy draws and canyons, and that is when we found him. And I knew that the hunt was on.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Pendleton Ammunition, loading bullets, one round at a time.
If you'd like to book this week's adventure for yourself, give our office a call. We will gladly take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the hunting or fishing adventure of a lifetime. We had passed up some pretty good bucks up in the Aspens, but we decided to move back down below snowline and start glassing some open draws and canyons, and that's when we spotted him, feeding on the side of the canyon.
516, he lay down smoking right here. That's a nice deer.
Daniel knows every inch of this ranch, and he put us on a path to stalk this deer out of his line of sight, down in another draw where we would pop up and use this big cedar bush for cover. And Daniel's plan was that we would pop up straight across the canyon from this buck. And his plan worked out perfectly.
Oh, look at him trash that brush.
348.
We's just raking trees, isn't it? 334. Here he comes. We got right to left, Daniel.
Yep, I do a center hold. Right there. Oh, nice shot. Don't get up the end.
He's down, he's down. Nope, he's going downhill. He's down, yep, there, down.
That was awesome. That's what we want, a mature
deer.
Old, heavy, mature buck.
Yeah. You know, today was just one of those perfect days to see a lot of deer, and over the last 3 days, I've passed up a lot of great bucks. But look at that buck. He's heavy, tall, huge back forks, lots of mass. He's definitely, you know, a mature buck, big bodied. You know, like I said, we're halfway through with this adventure here in Utah. I've still got an elk tag in my pocket, and I can hardly wait to get back up in the mountains in the snow-covered aspens and find one of those big old Utah bulls. Now that I had my buck tag filled, we could focus on elk, and this place has no shortage of elk. Overnight, more snow had fell, and the next morning we found ourselves sitting above a big herd of elk just above the winter range. It was early November, and the cows were chirping, the bulls were still half-heartedly bugling, and younger bulls sparring. There were a few hundred head of elk down there below us, and for over 2 hours we glassed them and looked them over, and finally Daniel spotted a good 6x6 bull. Now we just needed to wait for an opportunity to take the shot.
All those cows are bedding down right now, and with them bedding down, that means this herd isn't gonna come up any further to us. We just gotta hope he steps it out and gives us a shot. It's gonna be a long one. 650 to the bottom. Problem, there's 300 elk down there.
While the 308 is big enough to kill an elk, I really wanted to switch back to the 300 Winchester Magnum that I'd loaned Cesar. That gun just has a little bit more knockdown power, and with the Eliminator 3, it was going to give me that additional range to reach out there if I needed to take a longer shot. After 3 more hours of laying there in the snow, with fog banks coming in and covering up the whole herd of elk, time and time again, getting fogged out, more snow falling on us, we finally got a window of opportunity to take the shot.
Got
cow right in front of him. I'm good, yeah. They can kill him, I'm clean. Well, my friends, that's another story for another day. Remember, if you'd like to book your own guided big game hunting adventure, give my office a call. We'll always take the time to take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the hunting or fishing trip of a lifetime. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week's show. But please remember to join us again next week when we bring you another exciting episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures.